when I watch other people who have like game news or yeah, gaming news channels and stuff like that, I notice that they have a lot of editing, for example. So like it won't just be one seamless stream. It'll be like them saying a couple things, cut, next thing, cut, next thing, cut.
Hmm.
And so I've been playing around with that right now, that whole process, and it seems okay. It's just I'm kind of wrestling in between, like, because it seems like they write out a whole script, like a whole, like, let's say 30-minute script, and they, go through it piece by piece. I'm kind of more just like, I'll say something, stop it, say something else, stop it, as I record, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of,
Right.
I don't feel like writing it out. But I'm also playing around with the writing the script part as well. Like, I started doing one last night, but for my other channel. But anyway, that's where I'm at, and then I want to do that. So like I'm thinking about doing game news, game reviews, and then just like maybe some straight up gameplay every once in a while.
Hmm. Hmm. And you mentioned watching some other YouTubers in like the game space. What channels?
So the main guy that I like to watch right now is Sunbro Nation. I don't know if you've ever seen him, but I like his format because he's very straight to the point. That's one of the things that made me want to start this as well, because like I notice a lot of people when I go to watch stuff for myself, like again, so this is another thing is that I'm kind of like new into gaming, let's say. Like I've always had a system and I've always just played it like randomly, but like
Mhm,
super sparse. Like it was like once every 3 months or something, just for like 10 minutes.
mhm,
But now I'm trying to take it seriously and I didn't know like for example what were the games, right? Because I was just playing Call of Duty for the past like 10 years, right? Nothing else.
mhm,
And so I'm like, what is even a game now? And I was like trying to think like as a kid, how did we even, right? How did we even know what was the good game? It was just like we always knew somehow, right? But like as
mhm,
an adult, I'm like, what's the game? And so I started watching the review channels and I just noticed a lot of nonsense. Like just fluff and people liking a bunch of games that I'm like, how could you like this as an adult, right?
mhm.
And I don't know. I just feel like I couldn't cut through the nonsense. But like going back to your question, so some bro, I feel like he's very direct. So like when he comes on, he gives you a quick synopsis of what he's about to say. So you know, like, okay, do I want to watch this or not? And then he tells you, and he goes into in depth. But
Right.
yeah, anyway, so I watch some bro, and then I watch other people, but like it's more because they just seem like they come up so often, like the bigger guys. Like there's one guy, beat 'em ups that comes up a lot for Nintendo type of content specifically. He's like the biggest one for Nintendo, whatever. He comes up a lot, but I don't really like watching his stuff. He's more of these people that I'm talking about that just has a lot of fluff in his videos. Just it's just more
Hmm.
of like a. It looks like you're just watching a like a big meme or something. You know what I mean? It's like a meme,
Yeah.
but with like
Yeah.
some actual game news involved in.
Right. So I guess in terms of so your branding is going forward on this channel is going to be like elder gamesman coming
Yeah.
in with the Nintendo Switch
Mm.
and then trying to position yourself that way. Um, like I personally don't watch games channels.
Mm.
The only time because I watched a few of your videos now, some games channels
Like,
content is coming into my feed. Um, and you mentioned Mario World Kart Tour or whatever being terrible. There was actually like a video yesterday that appeared that was like 2 weeks old, but it had like 300,000 views or something because they were saying like, oh, this game's actually trash. And they put footage and explained why it's trash, and um, it seemed like the audience generally agreed with them.
mm.
So uh, there are ways of voicing if you think like modern games are garbage and they don't deserve their recognition or whatever.
Mm.
But then there also is I guess damn when I was speaking to you earlier about your channel, I guess what I was going to ask you was if the algorithm was a person and you were to give your videos to it and act as if it was like a marketing department and you were
Mm.
to say, okay, get this out in front of eyes, and it would say, okay, who's your audience? Who are you speaking to? Who are you creating this content for? Um, my general impression right now is you have some inclinations, like you're saying, like you have the foundation for what your channel could be,
Mm,
but you don't yet have the formulation of, okay, this is how I can create content and be effective, like going forward, rather than kind of like buckshotting. Because just as an example, like if I open up your channel, FIFA gameplay, nothing wrong with that. But as an example, I'm not a soccer fan, so if I see a FIFA gameplay thing, I'm not going to click it because I have no interest in soccer.
mm,
Um, so it's very hard to get your channel going in the game space because there's just so much. Like if anyone's coming onto YouTube, especially like young kids, their content is going to be, if I want to express myself on this platform, what am I likely to engage with? Gaming. So there's so much content being fed down that the algorithm really has to know, like, where is this going, right?
mm.
um, and I think you could do a lot of interesting things, and like you were saying, you might have to lean more into editing. I don't think necessarily it means that you'll have to write essays and do like video essays, anyways, but choosing kind of like a topic and digging in. I feel like even that, like controversial video games, because of you like talking about controversial stuff. Maybe you can pick out aspects of video games and just do a rant on it or something. And you
Mm.
don't have to do that polished editing. You can still lean into your personality and talking points. Um, but when you also first mentioned like kind of this older gamer approach coming back in, just as an example, if it was me and I was trying to help like produce you, I would say, for example, you can say you were a gamer in the past, but what was your actual gaming experience like? What were, if you could maybe even like timeline, what were these kind of essential games that kept you with the medium?
Mm.
And like what impression did they have on you in a certain age? Um, Even like, for example, um, just pulling like an idea to my ass. But when I was growing up, I went to the flea market and I'd buy like floppy disks of games. Like that's how like
Floppy
my
disk.
generation. Like go to the flea market and you'd buy a floppy disk, and like it would be like Jazz Jackrabbit or shit, like and like very early games, and I kind of watched them evolve. And so if I were to try and like make algorithm content, I would be like, old gamer returns to this. And if and I guess what I was trying to say about like who's your audience is, it, are you trying for general appeal, or are you trying to speak to yourself in others? Like
Yeah.
if that's the case, then for example, I would pick out um way back when, like in Radio Shack, we would go get like CDs, and I was poor, so like I couldn't afford like shitloads of games, but we'd buy this disc that has like 30 games on it or whatever, and they'd be shit, but you'd still play them because you didn't have variety or options, right? It was like dial-up internet, you didn't have anything.
Mm.
So I would try to find like those games. You can still find those games on like archive.org, revisit them, and then you could even say like, oh, what could I recreate this game in AI? Like, how long would it take me to
So
recreate this game? You could do so much shit, right?
yeah,
But unique content versus just drop in the bucket of something that's little chance of traction. You know what I mean?
right. So yeah, and I see that as a possibility, like for a creative take, right? Like, cause I've seen a lot of these videos that you're talking about, where, and some of them are really good, like we're super nice. Like, there's a guy yesterday I was watching. He was basically explaining like the controversy behind how Nintendo got started. I don't know if you know this, but like Nintendo got started as an underground gambling like card game. That's what it
Mm.
was initially, and it was like funded by the mafia in Japan and all this other stuff, and then it evolved into what it is today. But super cool. It was like a movie almost while I was watching about
Hmm.
gaming. But so just to reiterate, so for me, like it was just about being, going on 40 and just not knowing what's what are the games, what are people playing and why, what are the good ones.
Hmm.
And then, like you said, I feel like I'm talking to myself. Like I want to talk to people who are in my position, essentially. like people who are just completely lost. Like I was at the store the other day, and I was, even though I have a Switch 2, um, when I walked past one, I think it was a Target, or no, it was a Best Buy or something, and they had a demo there of Switch 2, Donkey Kong on it, right? And I was like, oh, this is like one of the games that all the reviewers are like saying is the best game of the year. I'm like, Donkey Kong? Like, how's that possible? So I was like, let me play. At least I get to play it for free here. So I started playing it, and I hated it. It was just so. It was just too simple, too repetitive. You're just mashing the same button over and over, breaking things, and it's like brain dead. But then like another guy walked by me, and he was like, "Oh, this looks cool. Like, what do you think?" And then like I caught myself trying to explain to him, like, even though this is trash, the system's cool, and there's other games like this there, and there's other games that are cool. Um, and so like that's what I feel like I have a calling for it right now. Like right now, at this very moment, I want to talk to just like older people who may have just been out of the loop and are just tired of getting like Mario and Donkey Kong and Pokemon shoved down their throat. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's what I have in mind presently.
Hmm.
And so I want to do like game reviews where I'm like showing you like, look, these games are cool. Forget what everyone else is telling you. These are the games. These are the gems that you want to focus on as a certain type of person. And I don't, I don't know what to label that person. Maybe it's like a Trump supporter gamer, like,
I don't.
as a racist gamer. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It's like, just kidding, Dylan.
You're good. Um, I guess just knowing, like, I guess I just don't have much to offer in terms of advice for that. It's just because I think most adults nowadays, you wouldn't really turn to an individual unless you have a real understanding of their psychology. Like even for example, with that Donkey Kong game, as an example,
Mm.
um, like everything's subjective, of course. But in terms of like the if people are talking up a lot of these games, it's because technically they're doing certain things well, or they're reaching for a certain audience, right? Like you wouldn't read like an R.L. Stein Goosebumps book and then be mad about there's a lack of like complex relationships, and there's no you would know, oh, this is a book aimed at like 12-year-olds. But how well was that story written that a 12-year-old can read it, but also the parent can read it to them and get enjoyment out of it? You know what I mean? Like a Lord of the Rings or something where the parent will read it to their kid at night, but they get just as much enjoyment out of it. So some games, if they're really well made, they kind of have that.
Like Harry Potter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So um, it's just more so, and like all games are trying nowadays to have as wide of an appeal as possible, just given the costs of making them is astronomical, right? Plus you're bound by it's very seldom that you'll have a game that was like you and I, for example, if we were impassioned and we're like, let's make a game for people like us, and let's create a story and build it. In order to actually get to a product, we would have to have like millions of dollars, and at that point, maybe we've had to speak to someone who wants to invest in it, and then they've now taken control, and then you lose that vision pretty quickly. And then they want a return on their investments, so like now you need to open up to 12-year-olds to cut that out, cut this out. So like games are very, unless you go into like the indie gaming, which there are like the last game that I played was Kingdom Come Deliverance for the Switch One, which is it's an old game, and it ran kind of laggy on the Switch because I expected that. I don't have a gaming PC, I don't have a TV, so if I'm going to play a game, that's my only option, and I'll accept if it's a bit jank or whatever around the edges. I don't care so long as I can get through. And it was a really well made game. I think the second one's out on the Switch too. But like it was made by like a small studio. It was a passion project. The writing's fantastic. It doesn't have like the best graphics, but I mean they're very impressive. And I think like when I was growing up, because we saw the advancing of games every new game that came out had to look better, it had to feel more fluid, everything always had to improve. And then the gameplay stopped improving, and it was just like graphics that were just changing. But it was like you're playing the same game over and over, and it was like games suck. That's kind of where a lot of people left it, right? Unless you're kind of new to the market and then you're playing these kind of same formulaic games. But to you, it's new if you're 12 years old and you come in and you play for 10 years or whatever, and you're not having the same experience that other people had. But like small studios can create really unique games still, but the chance of them being like a large AAA title is rare. And then the indie games market is just flooded because like Nintendo is notoriously bad. Like if you look at the eShop, there's so much shovelware shit. Like the games I was talking about when I'd go to Radio Shack and get like 1,000 games on a disc. That shit's all over the
That's in their
Nintendo
eShop.
eShop. Like you can't like filter through their pages without seeing like brain rot. Like there's like a meme of like Choo Choo Chapur or something of like these fucking like baseball bat people and like Italian brain rot over. There's like 6 games of that on the Switch. It's like it's a horrible platform for. So I don't know. And then in terms of like adult gamers, I feel like most adults have the discernment to be like they're more frugal with their money, right? They want to know what they're buying. So you would go to Google and type in like FIFA as an example. Is the new FIFA good? You would just Google FIFA. If it has like a mediocre score, you see there's bugs or whatever, and you're like, maybe I'm not going to buy that one. You don't really go, oh, I need to seek out what does Sun. What was the guy's name you name mentioned? Well, like what does that person specifically say about this game? You're not going to seek that out. So I think it's just very hard to get traction, I guess, is what I'm
Well, so
trying to
like
say
for
with your
me,
channel.
it was for me, like I'm still doing that, even though like I bought like literally I bought the Switch and I've got like 15 games already. And like I started from zero. Like I didn't like for example, all the games that you're talking about that people like maybe are tired of at this point. I'm like, ooh, all these Switch One games that I never
Yeah.
played, and I get to play 'em with better graphics on the Switch too. But I'm still doing that. Like for example, the other day I was trying to find a shooter that I wanted to play, because I miss playing like one player shooters. All that
Hmm.
Call of Duty like online, everyone's sweaty all the time. Like I got tired of that. I wanted to just have fun by myself with a bunch of like dumb AI robots, you know what I mean? And just and I just know from experience and from like just playing different games that I don't like all shooters. All shooters just don't do it for me. There's a certain shooter that I'm looking for, a certain play style, like a certain like arcade type of feel. And uh yeah, I could go on and see the Google reviews, but again, what I find is that I disagree with most people on their reviews. That's what I'm running into. The issue like and I guess it's because it's Nintendo, like I'm in the Nintendo space, which is kind of like catered more towards kids, I guess. Even
Hmm.
though it's funny because they put out some stats recently and they said that like 80% of their player base is all adults, like in their
Hmm.
mid 30s and 40s. But they're all, and even those like grown up people are like kids almost. Like when I see the games that they like little kid games. And I'm like, they want to play like Splatoon. I don't know if you've ever seen Splatoon before. It's
Hmm.
like a paintball, silly little cartoon. It's like, I don't know. It's just and these are the games that they put like top 10 greatest of all time and I'm like how the hell and then so I literally had to go and what I wanted to do was I wanted to see what the game plays like because you go to the eShop and you get these trailers that don't show you gameplay half the time. They show you just the cutscenes or whatever you call it, theatrical, right? It's the clips. And it's like I don't want to see that. I want to see what the game plays like because I through that I can see like I can get an idea of what it would feel like, right, for me to play it.
Hmm.
And so I had to like in searching, I found like gameplay of Wolfenstein was one. I found gameplay of Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption was another one, which I think I'm gonna get. And then I found Borderlands, which looked like all those seemed to be like close to what I wanted. They all had certain things that I liked and certain things I didn't like about them, which was funny because like in my mind, I thought Red Dead Redemption would have been my favorite, and then maybe Borderlands, and then Wolfenstein. I kind of had it in the back, like, I'm not sure about that one. But I put it in my list of like favorites on the eShop, like I want to buy this in the future, my wish list or whatever. And then when I went to the stores to go look for them, Borderlands 3, which is the only one available, got taken off the store because it's too glitchy on Switch 2. So that one I can't do. Red Dead Redemption, I wasn't really sure if I wanted like a GTA, because that one reminds me of like GTA too much. Like it's just a lot going on with the like open world type of thing. I just want to be in a game where it's more like you're constantly just shooting people. I don't care about the whole story or none of that. And so then I was like, that's more like Wolfenstein. So I bought that and it was great. It was a great game, but I couldn't have I wouldn't have made that determination just off of like looking at Google reviews. I needed to see gameplay. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
And even with the gameplay that I did find, there was nobody that was like, "Yo, this game right here is like awesome." Like it was just more like, "Here's gameplay. Think about it
Yeah.
whatever you want." You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that that's I don't know what you think about that, but that's just been my experience basically, and I'm still
Do you
doing that.
think
Like I said, mm.
do you think it's sustainable though? In terms of like if that was your bread and butter of your channel, do you think it's like
The only thing that I think of it as sustainable for me right now, the only reason why I think it's sustainable is because like I know I'm gonna keep playing games and I know I'm gonna keep buying games, and
Mhm,
so I can keep doing that. I could just keep playing games, buying games, and then telling people what I think. You
mhm.
know.
I guess in terms of like because then you are I mean until you achieved a certain level where you don't have to pay for games,
Mm,
you're paying out of pocket.
mm.
Like so is there a return on the videos or are you going in the hole
Oh yeah,
to
totally.
basically chill? So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
eventually you would just be you'd be paying to shill products, you know what I
I'm
mean?
doing that
Uh,
now. Yeah, I'm doing that now. But that's the thing is that like it's really just like for example my other channel, right? Scary Hours Podcast. I don't make anything off of that, but it's just something that honestly I need to do. Like
yeah,
it's for me. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's my outlet. It's like when I need to get something off my chest or talk about something political, boom, there's my podcast. And I get feedback or whatever. And I want it to be the same thing with this. Like I've never come into YouTube thinking like I'm gonna make money. If I do
Mm,
great, but my thing is like I enjoy doing it. Like for example, the other day I was playing FIFA, that FIFA gameplay you saw. I had stopped playing FIFA because I had gone into the career mode and I went to a certain level, and then once I started just winning super easily, I just stopped playing it. Right, it
mhm,
lost all of its fun. But then, like when I was playing and I like was thinking in my mind, not even thinking, maybe like consciously or subconsciously, but just felt like this was going out into the public arena. It just made the game more fun. I just all of a sudden was having a lot of fun just being in that different headspace. But yeah,
mhm.
I think I'll be able to continually do it. Now, do I see your point in terms of like I do want to get to that point that you're talking about, taking more of like the creative angle and like maybe just writing, certain scripts and having these whole like themes or concepts for my videos. Um, that's the part that I feel like it would be maybe like a once a month thing. You get what I mean? Because there's just so much that goes into it, like research and
Mm,
organizing and all this other stuff.
mhm. Well, I think there's different ways of the intensity of it, right? Like it literally could be, um, oh, I don't know. Just as like you were saying about the gameplay, actually, another video showed up in my homepage after a while clicking on your FIFA video. It was like all the football games on the Switch or whatever,
Mm,
or all the football games played on Switch too. Because I guess they had purchased a whole bunch on the Switch One, so they just made like a compilation of just recording like what do all of the current soccer games look like on the
mm,
platform
mm,
when you're playing on the Switch too. And that video had like 400,000 views or something like that. So you can definitely drive traffic with like just those gameplay style videos.
mm.
Um, but yeah, no, like I definitely don't want to discourage you or anything. And I guess my comments initially were like even just through this conversation, like you said, you're more conversational, and your personality just comes out a lot more than when you're talking about a game. That I think it's just like who's the audience is just kind of the question I have when I'm watching that content. Not to
Yeah, no, I
speak
don't
down on
mind.
it, but it's just like yeah, it just needs to be more driven. I think it like because gamers in general, right? That's why they enjoy that art form because it is passive. Like you could like it. Uh, if you have a long day at work or whatever, like it's been proven through scientific studies, it connects pathways in your brain, you're problem solving, you're moving, and there's like action and like so a lot of people that are drawn to that medium when they're watching content about it, they want it to be kind of fast paced, unless they're watching like a streamer who is more so someone that they've just indentured as like a personality that they want to spend time with, and
Yeah.
then they like watching these slow streams because they can chat and they can like
So you're talking
participate in the
about
game.
like when you saying fast paced, what are you referring to? Like what kind of content?
Like I don't even think that you have to go fast paced, but like you were saying, just like some tightening up on the edits,
Mm,
and just a bit more of a not like a put on personality, but you're doing your very like lackadaisical kind of like hey guys, I just spent $600 on a machine, and this machine you should buy, and it's pretty good, and you know what I mean. It's like it's not you, whereas like you come through and you're so like I said in the comment, like you're sharp because I'm not sharp, right? Like I can have like ideas up here, but it just doesn't come out of my mouth, and like it's like this is not connected to this, and so I'm terrible. That's why I don't put myself on camera. That's why I don't like if I'm going to do something, I would rather make a situation where other people can be on screen and act out and stuff. I'd rather produce. I'd rather do that sort of thing. I don't want to be. I hate people observing me because it's just there's a big
I
disconnect
don't
between this and what
I
comes
don't
out of me.
I don't see that
Um,
I don't see that in you. I know this is about me, but I don't see that in
yeah, although it's
you.
true. So like when I
It's
watch
true.
you and like you're in a conversation and you're so sharp and you're like if you applied yourself into the games thing without deadening yourself, I guess. And it's not even like you have to talk politics in it or anything,
Mm,
because I think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like, you overcame struggles and you are now like, you have this kind of a bit of a renewed view on life, and you're kind of reinventing yourself through this
yeah.
channel. Um, so I think like that's something that I would encourage, and finding new ways to express yourself. Like I bet you if you told people, hey, like Los started a Switch 2 channel, people would be like, what? No, because they would think, oh, that's out of his wheelhouse. So like I think there might have been hesitation that I was reading on you because it's kind of like an uncomfortable space. Because I mean, there's perception of what is a gamer, and if you're going to lean into that brand, like I wouldn't call myself a. I mean, I play games,
Mm. But you wouldn't
but
call
there
yourself a gamer.
was this stigma around games. Like I was in the games journalism scene, and it was at the time when like there was like the hardcore gamers and there was the casual gamers, and casual gaming was kind of rising at the time. And I was pretty young, and I was like, oh man, I hate the casual game space because it's destroying the hardcore. It was all games had to be kind of like dumbed down and made more accessible because they're opening the market up more and more, which is a good thing because we want women playing games. And I think like did I just get the boom drop?
Yes, you did.
No, but it is true though,
I
right? Like
want
you do.
you literally said.
You do want women in the game space, right?
Oh
Because
my God, you're gonna hear this back and you're gonna love what you just said. Oh my God.
no, because I do mean it, because
I do mean that.
it is true, right? If you don't have women seeing games as this thing
I,
that's not just for like
I
incel losers and
just love because you were just like, yeah, you just have to dumb it down because you do want women to.
oh, not dumbing it down for the women, but I just mean like for casual gamers.
Yeah.
Um,
But
But
Yeah,
what I'm trying to
yeah,
say is like 40% or even more, like a good chunk of the gaming market is women, and that's like fantastic to be like a healthy medium. Like if movies
yeah,
were only popular with like
yeah.
16 to 18-year-old boys that were like, you know what I mean? It would be like that's a very niche, and it would be an isolating hobby. Whereas if you have women in the game space, then you have, you know, oh, my wife will play this with me. Like if I'm sitting and she's reading a book or whatever, I can play a game. There's no stigma. Like
Oh yeah.
it's made more healthy. You know what I mean?
I
Um,
seen they have this whole thing called cozy gaming. If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, cozy gaming is what they like. They
yeah.
love it. They play these little farm games and stuff. And I fell for that too. There was another one I fell for. Like there was a game like Story of Seasons, I think it's called. Right? And it's just like they were like, again, this is the greatest game. Oh my God. And I was like, let me try it. It like went on sale. I downloaded it, and it's just literally just going back and forth and back and forth and pressing the same button and walking back and forth and back. And it's like, what in the heck?
Well, it's that's also I guess that's also like um, what I was thinking of with like older gamers in terms of like YouTube channels like kind of geared towards them is just like people don't have a lot of time and they don't have a lot of time for games. Like when you're working 40 hours, you come home, you make supper. It's like you might have an hour window when your spouse goes to bed, or if you have kids, God forbid, like when do you have time to sit down and, you know, play like a Final Fantasy 7 or something? You know what I mean? It's like you don't have much time as an adult,
Mm,
and then if you do, you want to make sure you're investing it into something that's rewarding and fulfilling and not frustrating,
mm.
or or like those cozy games are perfect for a lot of people because it is just like a mental bath. It's like you want to get out of the anxiety and stress of life, and you just put on something that has like calming music. You walk around, water a plant and shit, and there's some progress every day. Like that's all they want. They just want some like disconnect, and that's what
Yeah.
they're looking for, right? um and it's like most adult gamers are more so the casual because they were pushed out. Like you're saying, Call of Duty, when it was so popular, you know, adults don't have the reflex skills. You'd come into a lobby, you're just getting, it's not
Just getting
fun. You're
spanked.
having kids screaming at you, and then it's just like you just lose interest in the medium, right? It's just not fun.
Little kids
Um,
screaming at you.
so it's just like
That's
I don't know. It's more difficult for adults to
yeah.
feel like there are games being made for them, and when you do find them, they are kind of more far and few in between, or you just make do with like what's available. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just I personally I find like the game space is just not too interesting. The only content I ever really watch is there's a channel called Switch Up. And I don't know if it's all they do, but it's the only videos that pop up
I
and I
feel
click
like
on.
I've seen
Um,
a video or two of theirs.
yeah, they basically just run through the eShop every week and just say, hey, this is on sale for $5. Pick it
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
This is on.
yeah, yeah.
So without having to load up the store and scroll through like the meme games and all that shit, you could just be like, oh, uh, Red Dead's on sale for $10. Okay, let me grab it.
Mm.
Um, so like that's kind of useful, and it's like 10 minutes. You don't even have to watch the video. You can just kind of, if it looks like something you're not interested in, they do like the
Oh, like
timeline stamping.
sections. Yeah,
So you
yeah.
just click through, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not wasting my time consuming this content. I get what I want out of it. Um, and there's, you know, it just comes weekly or whatever. Um, that's pretty much like the only gaming content I watch
That's
nowadays.
interesting to hear the type of like channel that you're into because I've seen that guy, but it wasn't really like didn't really do much for me. Like I don't mind going through the eShop to be honest with you, as much as the slop that there is on there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Uh,
there's something I was gonna say, I forgot what it was now. Go ahead, keep going. Oh, that's what it
uh,
was. You did so far. I'm getting some ideas coming to me because one thing that I am noticing is I put out like I don't know like 6 7 shorts or whatever and 3 or 4 videos. And the only one that got comments on it so far and like dialogue back and forth in the short is the one where I'm just talking crap about everyone's favorite games. And I didn't even mean to do that. That was just part of a larger video and it just got clipped up by my AI editor.
right.
And but it's just it caught a part where I'm just like, yeah, everybody told me to get Mario Kart World and that was trash, and then told me to get Pokemon and that was trash, and then they told me to get Mario Odyssey and that was trash. And then that's the one that people were like, no, I can see why you only have 14 subs. And then like I'm engaging with them now, and it's like I feel like maybe that's one angle I can take, right? Is like take everyone's favorite game and then just like trash on it, right? Like kind of be
Mhm.
like the bad boy of like the Nintendo world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, like lean into the hater persona.
Yeah.
There's a I don't watch like what are they called? The reaction channels. I don't really watch them. But there's a few that sometimes you'd click like Rick Beato if he was reacting to something or whatever, or not Rick Beato, the damn what there's like a surfer guy that is a composer, and he gave like good insight into a lot of music and stuff. And then there's a few like rap channel reactors I sometimes click through just to kind of see the reaction to certain new songs or whatever.
Mm, mm,
But there's one channel that I try to stay consistent on their content. Michelle Show. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
mm,
Oh, he's great. Like his whole persona was that he was like a hater, and so he would just hate on everything. But he does it in like a fun, self-aware way, and he would kind of he's kind of trolly. But he also does like he'll attack these like YouTube rappers who are putting out videos, and he tries to get like beef going with them, and then he takes them into he has this like segment called the White Room where he creates like his own like battle raps and tries to go at them and get like his audience. But his whole gimmick is that he hates, and he's like hate for life, and his audience like get pleasure because it's almost like watching wrestling and there's like a heel persona, right?
Yeah.
It's like lean into it to an extreme, but be self-aware, not just like rage baiting, because rage baiting gets you either turn into like a what do they call it, like a lol cow or whatever, or it's boring after a while, right? If
Mm,
someone's just like I'm shitting on everything for this, because and that's how I was like at the end of kind of like my time with games journalism, I was starting to just shit on everything because even like the games that you're saying you like, where like you just keep shooting, it was like they were so formulaic where it's you walk into the room, there's that buffer where there's no one there, and there's a door over here and there's a door over there, and you just know that it's going to start doing that waves of people coming in. You just shoot them, and then you duck and you hide, and then you go up and you walk into the next room, and it does that buffer, and then there's people coming. It's just like the same thing over and over and over,
mm.
and it just had no dynamic aspect to it. And I was like, I hate this. And all of the people that I was around at the time were just aggravating me because it was like, um, I was hoping that people would be more self-aware in this space where it's like, yeah, this is just our job, but we hate our job. Like most people hate their job, but instead they were like, no, no, Mario Odyssey, or like you know what I mean? Like they were just all about it, and I was just like, well, but where is your actual life? Like they're just fully absorbed into these hobbies and consuming, and it's like they weren't people. And then I was just I disconnected from the movement, and yeah, it's just um, I feel like a lot of the people in that space are just like you were saying earlier. It's like children that just I don't know. They made a career out of their hobby, and their hobby is their life, and that's it.
Mm.
And I just don't find it relatable to most people unless you're like in sympathy with that, or you're a child and then you see like an aspiration. It's like, oh, this adult that never lost their spark or whatever it is. But it's like I don't know, it just I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So you're talking about like just bringing that self-awareness when you're doing these things, like be aware that you're doing it essentially,
Yeah,
and
and
like
like if you're hating on it, like make it a character,
mhm,
like not so much like not a
not like
character as in
serious.
like yeah, like twisting your mustache and but like just be aware of like I guess what you're doing and lean into it then maybe
Yeah,
like
like satire, like you're like make it clear that you're being satirical in that.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
not
And,
taking
and
yourself so
just make it
seriously.
fun for the viewers to kind of participate in that. And then people that don't know your act would come on and get offended that you shit on
Yeah,
Mario or whatever, and then you
right.
get that kind of like engagement farming. But like, yeah, no, I think you could excel in the space. Uh, and I guess kind of like my antagonizing criticisms were more so just to get you to bring yourself into it.
Mm.
Because I just don't think you're doing that yet. But not to fault you, because you have to start doing it before you could even figure out what it
Yeah.
is you're doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I just I know for a fact that if I just had somebody to do it with me, it would just be 10 times as easy, right? Just like we get on, we
mhm,
talk crap, I don't know, maybe we played the same game for a week or whatever. But now that I'm just having to just force myself to do it on my own, I think that's what you're probably seeing is like that struggle of like, okay, how do I want to do this, right? What's the most efficient way? What's the most smooth way that just flows naturally with like who I am and stuff like that. So
mhm,
yeah, obviously I mean, that's going to be a little bit of a process, but I think it's just a
mhm,
matter of putting in the work, being consistent, right? Just keep going.
mhm. And I guess my advice to you would be, use your regular channel as your artistic output, but see the gaming thing for what it is, because it's not your lifelong passion. It's not it like if you want to spend a massive amount of time on it, try to monetize it, right?
Mm,
Um, don't just like kind of like piss away your time and money to prop up products, um, because then you are like you're just not valuing, I guess, yourself in that way, right? It's why would you not try to make a product? I guess to kind of start from where we started this conversation about games and how they were trying to make it more and more casual to like wider appeal. Like I know that personally, because I worked on like some game projects, and like I'm building a game right now, um, because I'm trying to build an app, and I've gamified like learning of Chinese. So in making it, I was initially starting to make it kind of like complex, because I like complex, difficult things. But then I was thinking, I'm setting up impediments to people that if they pick this up, uh, the whole point is, so just as an example, um, with trying to read Chinese, it's so difficult because you're not familiar with these characters, and you have to learn the pronunciation, and there's multiple pronunciations for the same characters. The characters combine into words, and it's like, it's not just learning it like if I'm learning French, I'm still using the English alphabet, but it's like I need to know so much if I'm going to read Chinese, right? So I took the game Snake, just as like what I have a bunch of games, but I took the game Snake, and rather than having and Snake was just like famous on like the Nokia mobile phones and stuff, where you just like that block that goes across and you
yeah, yeah,
eat an
I
apple and
remember.
you grow longer.
Yeah.
So I thought, in place of like the fruit, um, I have that the user pastes in like a for now I have it like I'm going off songs, because like when I'm trying to learn, um, immersion is the best way to learn. So I'm learning through listening to music, and there's actually amazing musicians in China. Like there's some cool killer bands out there.
Mm,
And like like I'm telling you, there's amazing like punk bands, and like there's like heavy metal, and it's good.
really?
Like there's like Nine Inch Nails sounding stuff, Make Kadar, for example. Like they're fucking awesome. So like if I paste their lyrics into my game parses the lines of the song, and then I play games for each of the lines. So instead of like the snake game, instead of the fruit, and like poison apples or whatever, I have the Hanzi appear, like in the song row. It might be like Wo Aini, just as an example. So like the first fruit you have to catch is like the character whoa, and then when the snake hits it, I have it the screen flash and freeze, and the character pops up and the word pops up, and it's just like giving like repeated exposure to these characters, but in a way that's kind of like interactive, without like sitting there drilling cue cards or something. Like
Mm,
how else do you otherwise learn? It's just, you get flashcards, you write it down, you look at it, you try
yeah,
to remember it.
yeah.
Whereas like now I've gamified it. And initially I had it too difficult, but now I took away the barriers of like a casual person playing this, because they just want to learn. Um, so I would kill the success of my own app by wanting to make it appeal to gamers like myself.
Mm,
Whereas it's like, no, if people are trying to learn a language, don't want to have trouble playing Snake, they just want to learn the language and have like the benefit of repeated exposure to these characters and these words. And um, so in the same sense, like in regards to like making content, um, there has to be a self-awareness that you are making a product. And even though you like I love punk rock, and like when I've dabbled with like music, for example, in the past, I love abrasive noise. I don't like polished pop, whatever. I was like, let me make grating shit because I listen to experimental music, and it's easier to make something that sounds terrible than make it sound good. So like, if you're like putting out a product, you can lean into like raw production, unscripted, but at the same time you are putting out a product, and the goal of that product should be to make money. If you're investing your time and paying your money to buy these games to create ads for them, essentially, like, don't hesitate to lean into. It's not selling out to make content to try to make money.
Oh no, I'm
And I
absolutely
think
gonna do that. Yeah, keep going.
and I think if you set that as your North Star, hey, I'm actually trying to create a brand here for this gaming thing, not just as like a outlet of your main channel. Be like, no, let me actually lean into branding. Let me learn how to, like I was saying before with the algorithm, like if you were to feed your last 5 videos and say, if the algorithm was a person, who would be getting these videos, right? Like ask yourself that. And then is there consistency amongst the videos that you're doing? Like in a month, could all of those videos be served to the same people? Or like who's, like if you're a restaurant, you changed your menu every day, like who's eating at your restaurant, you know?
Right.
It's that sort of thing.
I see. Yeah, just to have some structure and some format, basically, that people can. And that's true because, like I said, so when you ask me about who I watch, like Sunbro, I watch him because of his consistent format. Like I know what I'm gonna get, and I click on it because of that, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
totally.
And so like for me, what would it draw me to your content? It would be your takes and your personality, along with seeing some gameplay and stuff. But it'd be more so I could find that gameplay anywhere. I can Google, YouTube, type in the game, hit the YouTube tab, and there's 50 pages of the gameplay. Like, um, it's I mean, we're in such an age where it's rare that someone's going to have to like seek out you specifically to find that footage, especially when you're not like a blown up channel or anything, right?
Yeah.
So it's just going to be difficult, if you just have that kind of like laid back approach, I guess, to the content.
Yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, I need to have something that basically sets me apart.
And you already have it, right? It's your
Yeah,
personality.
my personality. Yeah, I just gotta figure out how to bring it this space.
Exactly.
Maybe it just requires you to be the co-host.
No, I mean, I don't have time. Like to me, it's the commitment, because it would be like, once right now I have free time because I don't have a job, but once I get back on my feet, it's like, that I don't have time to make videos.
Yeah, I think I got everything that I need. What do you think?
Yeah. Good to connect and catch up with you, and yeah, I'm just excited to see, I guess, what you
Yeah, and
do with
I
it.
think if you, since you do play Switch games, like that's what literally we're doing. Like if you do ever have some free time and you want to just talk a little bit about some games that you tried or something new or whatever.
Absolutely, yeah. If I can never provide you some content or something, I'll try to.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you guys. We're gonna wrap it up here. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about our conversation in the comments. We'll catch you guys on the next one.